All right, family, peace and power. We're live, Sister Riziki. We're live.
Yes, fam.
Welcome to Tea Talk with the Sisterhood. We meet every Wednesday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time to discuss issues or thoughts that are on the hearts and minds of the sisterhood. Now, I just said that we meet from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., but sometimes, when the sisterhood get together, the dialogue might, it might stretch out until, 3, 4 o'clock sometimes. But we normally try to keep it within at least an hour of discussion. So thank you for joining us today. I think that, even though we don't have a specific topic, I think this is a powerful show. You get what I'm saying, Sister Riziki? Like, yes. we're still kicking it, and we're kicking it with the sisterhood. And the sisters are doing a lot of great things in the community. That's why, we've had to cancel some shows, over the last couple of weeks. And, I want the family to know what the sisterhood has been up to, what's going on, what's on our minds, what do we have coming up soon. And so, I think it's going to be a powerful show, even though we don't have an actual topic. But before we get started, all of the sisters, please, one by one, just introduce yourselves and what you have going on to the viewers.
Absolutely. Well, peace and power, family. This is your celestial sister / sacred sex Riziki Zafira in the building. Welcome. We missed you all. And welcome.
Peace. I see another sisters in the building. Please introduce yourself to the viewers and let us know. Tell us about yourself, sis.
Peace, family. It's Kia. How y'all doing? I've been gone for a while, but I'm happy to join the group today. I'm the second half of Nature's Cry. I'm not sure if Riziki said that already.
Yeah, thank you.
But
yes.
But that's about it. I'm on post right now, so I gotta talk quiet. All the soldiers are sitting right beside me. So
Sister Cheryl.
Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today?
Wonderful.
I'm kind of excited because we will be doing some work with Miss Riziki over there pretty soon. We're getting her. She finally got all her approval to go, so we'll be working with some contracts with her. And the other thing as well is that we are actually changing gears a little bit. I have a few contracts that I've already won, and we're going to actually get to looking for people to do subcontracting. So we will get that probably next week sometime. We'll start advertising what subcontracts we have out there for people. And yes, you still have to have your business in order in order to do subcontracting. Don't call and say, Shay told me to call you, girl, because we're still going to put you through the same information. So I'm glad to be here today.
Ashe. Peace and power, family. This is the sister, Dr. Oya Ma'at. I'm the co-founder and president of Ed Anime Productions. And Ed Productions is a Black-owned and operated company that creates educational animations for children in the areas of history, mathematics, and science. And so, support us. You can visit edanimeproductions.com to find out more about, the company and what we're doing. So we meet now. I want to go down the line. A lot of these sisters, I think they were kind of modest about what they do and what they have going on. This is a powerful, powerful panel of sisters that are making moves. Sister Waikisho, this sister's not even in the country right now.
Nope.
This sister's over in Europe right now. But I thank you, Sister Waikisho, for taking time out of your schedule to bless the panel and the viewers with your presence. But I think when we went down the line and did introductions, I don't think that we did. I know that, while we're kicking it, it'll come out what we do and who we are. But this is a powerful panel of sisters, Sister Girls, Sister Waikiko, Sister Riziki, and this is not even the other. I mean, we got like 2 other sisters who are missing, who are doing some powerful things in the community. So, you know, before we get started, again, sisters, we gotta pay homage to our ancestors, you know, when we begin our shows, because we understand that we are incarnations of them and we stand on their shoulders. By shoulders, we mean that they are our foundation. It is from them that we draw wisdom, knowledge, strength, and guidance. So, you know, since this is a female panel, of course, we pay homage to the divine line of females who fought for the liberation of our people. So when I called their names, Sister Alima said that we need to get some new names. But hey, when I call their names, please respond with Ashe, Yasakiwa.
Ashe.
Can another sister call a name?
I just want to give a shout out to all the sisters like from the Lumerian and Atlantis times, and that's all I'm gonna say. Ashe.
Ashe. Sister Cheryl.
Madam C.J. Walker.
Ashe.
My favorite.
Ashe. Sister Cheryl.
Gertrude Harris, my grandmother.
Ashe.
I would like to call the name of the name of Sister Lucy. A lot of people don't, you know, when they talk about the Nat Turner Rebellion, they fail to mention this Sister Lucy. She was riding with the brothers. And a matter of fact, if you go through the court records in Virginia, there was an enslaved African woman by the name of Lucy, who not only did she aid, you know, the brothers in the rebellion, she was hung with the brothers in the during the rebellion. So she was hung right alongside with Nat Turner, and they call him Nat Turner and them boys. So she was hung right beside them. And I was told that this sister wasn't scared. They said she didn't back down. They said, in a matter of fact, the entire time that they walked her to, I guess, the hiding post area, they said she cursed those white men out and mother F bleep this. They said that sister was a warrior.
I know that's right.
And she died for the liberation of Black people. I want to call her name Sister Lucy. Ashe.
Ashe, yes. Okay.
Mabel McCrae, my great grandmother.
Ashe.
Soldier for the family. So.
Queen Nani of the Maroons.
Ashe. You got to put me on with her, sis. Tell me who she is, sis. I already know about the Maroon community.
Yeah, well, she pretty much was like the matriarch, if you will. I actually started learning about her like a couple of days ago, and just like her vital role that she played as far as establishing the quote unquote Maroon community, because the Maroons were like escaped African slaves, whatever have you. And so she was her role was like matriarch, if you will. But like I said, I'm still learning about her, but it was interesting to, you know, hear about her, especially from the Maroon community that's still existing in Jamaica. So
if I was gonna second that, because she actually fought wars in Jamaica. So she was actually one of the queens known for fighting front line and actually gaining or starting the process of gaining independence, along with two other sisters down in St. Kitts. There were 2 other sisters down in St. Kitts that also fought against, I want to say, the British. So yeah, those women are very important.
And so do me a favor, my sisters. Riziki and Sister Key, can you guys, Sister Waikisho, can you guys please?
You can call me Kia. You can call me Kia.
All right, Sister Kia. So can you guys put their names under our group chat? Because I would love to research more of these sisters that you guys are speaking of, because, you know, we do normally rattle off, you know, the ones that are kind of, you know, known, but, you know, we got to bring out these sisters that people don't hear about. You know, these 3 sisters that you guys just mentioned, I want to do my research and study more on them. Sister, I got information on her that I could send you all, regarding the Nat Turner rebellion. And then there was another sister by the name of Carlota Lucchini. And I believe that she was fighting, against the British, and she she fought in the revolt, or even led a revolt. So people like that. I think her name is Carlota or Carlotta Lucchini. And she was also from Africa, African woman. And I think she was enslaved over in Haiti. I believe it was Haiti. I'm not sure. I would have to check it. But yeah, we got to talk about more sisters that people, don't know about. So Asheo, do any of the sisters want to mention a hot topic? Because I got a topic, man, that burnt me up this morning. If you guys want to start there.
You start first, because you start first. What was your hot topic?
Okay, well, I was born and raised in Baltimore, and our baseball team, is the Orioles. So every time, with Baltimore, when we go out of town, we're rocking the orange and black, the Orioles. And so our team went up to New York to play against the Yankees. I believe it was the Yankees. Don't hold me to it, but I know they went somewhere in New York, right? I think it's to play against the Yankees. And we have a black, I don't know what his position is, but he's like a star, on the Orioles team. His name is Adam Jones. So if you just do a quick Google, Adam Jones, and then type in racial slurs or something like that, it's all over the internet right now. So in USAtoday.com, it's on WBAL.com, BET, like it's all over the internet. Basically, during the game, the white folks in New York, and correct me if I'm wrong, Riziki, because I see your face. You're probably looking it up right now. So correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it happened in New York.
Okay.
But during the game, he was out there, he was playing, and the white folks in the crowd kept calling him all kinds of niggers. They threw peanuts at him, called him monkey the entire time he was playing the game. So he's outraged. Right now, Black America is outraged. I'm outraged too. But again, I went to Facebook and I said, look, we wanted to integrate, what this had happened, if he was playing in the Negro leagues. I mean, you get what I'm saying? Like, so my mind kind of went there. You know what I mean? Like, my mind went back to thinking how integration, to me, in my opinion, that was one of the worst things that could have happened to Black people. So we did all of this fighting, Sister Riziki. Oh, I want to be a part. I want to be in their leagues. I want to go to their hospitals. I want to attend their schools. I want to work for their establishments and be able to patronize their establishments. So we wanted there so much. There. Yeah. We thought that was our solution to inequality. But, 50 years later, we see that it wasn't. And a matter of fact, even though there were legislative gains, because a lot of people like to say, oh, well, what about the civil rights bill that got passed in 1965? And they like to rattle off, a lot of the different legislative gains. But what about the fact that we lost our social, political, and economic power, our cultural power, our identity? We have totally assimilated to their culture, and look at how they treat us and continue to treat us. You get what I'm saying? And so these white folks, they went off, called them all kinds of names, threw peanuts at them, so Black America is outraged right now. What are your thoughts on that, on this, sis? What are your thoughts, sisters?
I agree with you wholeheartedly. I think we waste energy when we do that. And what you were speaking of kind of reminds me of that hot topic I wanted to bring up with that whole hair commercial that everybody was pissed off at, like the Shea Moisture commercial. And I, like, someone was like, well, I saw everybody on Facebook, posting about it. And then somebody was like, well, Riziki, have you seen it? And that's when I posted my post, like, man, y'all irritating the hell out of me, because first off, y'all act like there's not a slew of Black business owners making our own Black hair care products. You act like there isn't a slew of Black women who are aspiring models. You act like there are not a slew of Black people or whatever who got camera equipment to record our own damn commercial. You act like we don't have $1.3 trillion in spending money to place these commercials on a channel. So like when you sit there and complain to me, you know, it goes in one ear and out the other, because this is telling me you don't have the knowledge of the power that you have to make that difference. And, you know, it was irritating. And even when, you know, you talked about integration, sis, you know, my family, well, my mother and grandmother is from Durham, North Carolina. And there's this one elder, Mr. Duke, who was really close to my grandfather, you know, and they both passed. But, you know, we were sitting down and we were talking, and he was just reminiscing on back in the day. And he was telling me about Parrish Street, which was the Black Wall Street in Durham, North Carolina. And, you know, I'm ready to ask him questions because, you know, I like to get deep with the elders. And he straight up said it before I said anything. He was like, you know what? Integration was the worst thing that happened to Black people. And I was like, oh, Mr. Duke, tell me some more. And he was saying how, like you said, we had our own businesses, we had our own schools, we had our own way of living. But when we felt like us being different from white people was a bad thing, then we left everything that we had to try to merge, you know, with them. And it completely shattered our economic and political advantage. And so again, you know, I'm just done with the complaining. Like, if we all talking about we God or whatever religion you believe in, and it's up to God, you will call on whoever to, you know, like, come on. And like Sabra Student said, and it was funny. He was like, well, what's Jesus' cell phone number? Who got the beeper number? Somebody got his email? Like, can we see what's going on? So I don't have the time for it, honestly. I'm tired of the complaining. That's just mine.
I just want to go back to the Negro baseball leagues. You know, like, we got to think about that. They had a whole economic system set up. All right. And I got to go back. I met two of the brothers who played in the Negro leagues. I met them about 10 years ago. They were old then. So I know I'm assuming they probably transitioned by now, but I got their autographs. But anyway, let me go ahead and finish my thoughts. So check this out, sis. It was a whole economic system when they had Negro leagues. So you had the owners of the teams, they were Black. The players were Black. Mm-hmm. The fields that they played on was land owned by Black people. Okay. They also paid people to utilize their land and property, whether it was dollars, whether it was bargaining. These people were compensated for that. Then you had Black women who would cook food, bring it to the fields. You hear what I'm saying, Sister Riziki?
Oh, wow.
Bring it to the fields, sell little things at the fields, okay? Then the players, if they travel from out of town, they were put up by Black families, because remember the hotels weren't integrated. So if you were a Black team traveling down south to play another Black team, it's not like you could just check into the hotel. Right. You get what I'm saying? They didn't have hotels. So what they did was stay in the Black community and households and pay these people like hotels. Wow. So it was a whole system. So once, what's his name? Jackie Owens? Is it Jackie Robinson? It was Jackie Robinson. I'm thinking of Jesse Owens. I believe it's Jackie Robinson. So once he integrated the leagues, and then everything went crumbling down, sis. Everything went crumbling down. But we had our own system. Now let's look at the sports leagues. They're not owned by us. And I think that if we do own a team, it's like a 0.0000, because I remember a lot of folks were running around saying Jay-Z and all of these rappers they were buying into these sports teams. But I was told that the margin that they owned was like, you might as well not own it at all. Like it was like 0.0000%. So we don't own anything. We don't own these things, you know, so I'm gonna pass the mic.
So I wanted to just chime in on that, and all of that is true. That is very true. But it's like, now what we gonna do? Like, we know that the worst thing that happened to us was immigration, right? So where do we pick up the baton from where, from our ancestors who thought they were doing the right thing and change the situation? One of the things that stood out to me, what you said about that situation, is that he was upset that they was calling him nigga. Well, that's one of my things that I took an oath about 5 years ago that I would never do, was to call another black person a nigga. To me, because of the history of that word. I don't care how people get with the whole semantics, whether it's the geese and it means king and all of that. Right. It don't mean that now. It has never meant it in the last 200 years when other people used it in a derogatory tone or a negative way. So you can't slice it no other way. So for us to perpetuate the same thing that we claim we hate other people to do, it's ignorance. It's insanity. It's actually insanity. So for us to complain, because at this point we're complaining, that we can change. When they did that to him, you know what his behind should have did? Boycott.
Yeah.
Stop playing.
Yeah.
Stop playing. Because we can't look to the past and say, oh, we did, which is true, and people need to know that. However, karma, how do we change that situation? Stop speaking to each other that way. You know, if a white person came up to you and said, hey, nigga, you wouldn't like it. So why would you speak to somebody else that way?
That's right.
We can start with small things to change a huge situation. You know what I mean? So for me, that stood out. That was one of the things. And again, stop spending money with these people.
That's right.
Pick and choose what you're willing to deal with and what you're not willing to deal with. But we got to start somewhere. We have to commit to some kind of sacrifice. So in order to fix that, he needs to come up with a plan to see if he can get somebody to boycott. There should be a solution to every problem that we have. We'll run and cry and pray and sing and march, but you won't boycott. That was the smartest thing that came out of the movement, and it was also the smartest thing that they did during the early 1900s, during the Honorable Mose Garvey time. They also boycott and collectively got their money together. That's what they did to change things, to make things work for them. But if we're not willing to do that, I mean, really, what can we say? Well, you could be upset, but you look like a fool because you finna go spend the money with him.
Yeah.
So, it is what it is at this point. We got to make a difference, man. Seriously. That's my piece.
No, but you're so right. Okay, he's in the media. Like you are 100% correct, Sister Waukesha. Mm-hmm. You got him in the media. Forgive me, y'all. We just kicking it, so I'm over here eating my food. Okay, we just kicking it.
Yeah, that's right.
So she's right. Okay, so he's in the media talking trash, right? He's in the media talking trash. Oh, they call me a nigga and they threw peanuts at me. Mm. But like Sister Kia said, what's the resolve? What's the solution? What are black people going to do? Are we going to continue watching the game tonight? I think we are.
Yeah.
Are we going to continue buying the hats of the Yankee team? I think we are. I mean, what is the consequence? And see, that's why these people feel like they can say and do anything to a black person without any retribution. Because where is the consequence?
Exactly.
No one should be buying a Nike, a NY or Yankees hat, right? Boycott the games. Boycott what do they call it? NBL. Boycott it. But they know that we're not going to do anything. And that is the difference. That's why I hate on Facebook when I see posts like, I'm not my ancestors. You damn right. You're not your ancestors because you don't have the discipline, the respect. Hell, I would even say you don't even have the intelligence to do what they did. So when I speak against about integration, that is no disrespect intended to our ancestors. I want to make that clear. Mm. They thought that they were doing the right thing at that time. And a lot of us do things in life and make decisions and think that we're acting in our best interest at the time that the decision is made. It is not until you feel the consequence of that decision until you realize that it was, and I don't say good or bad decisions. It would either a decision might be comfortable for you or, the consequence of a decision, in my opinion, might be comfortable or uncomfortable for you. Might give you a comfortable or uncomfortable experience. But what I'm saying is this: they did what they thought they should do at that time.
Right.
Now, 50 years later, we're feeling the consequences of their decisions. So now it's up to our generation, like Sister Kia said, to now pick up the baton and say, you know what? We made an error. We thought that integration was the right thing, but now we need to start establishing businesses. And Black folks are establishing businesses. Let me make that clear. There are brothers and sisters who are out here establishing businesses. Yeah. But we need to not only establish, first of all, we need to establish businesses in a concentrated area. Because in Baltimore, and I'm only speaking for Baltimore, I don't know how it is in other places, but in Baltimore, we're scattered. You got to drive maybe another 10, 15 miles for another Black owned, we're all over. And being all over is a good thing, but we don't have businesses in a concentrated area like the Jews. Like when you in Baltimore, I can take you to Juketown, and in Juketown, you're going to see schools that are owned and operated by Jews, with synagogues that are owned and operated by Jews, businesses that are owned and operated by Jews. Like they really have a Jewish community.
Yeah.
The Asians have a Asian community. Yeah. Black people, we have neighborhoods. Chinese folks come in, they establish businesses. That's how it is in Baltimore. And the Black-owned businesses are scattered.
Yeah.
So go ahead, Sister Waukesha. I saw you chime in.
Yeah, I'm sorry. No, I wanted to, let me see, because I talk too loud. No, I wanted to say something about the Black-owned businesses, and this is something that me and Rizzy was having complications about, because we want to spend with and this is happening now. As we set up our, doing our business, and we're doing business with Cheryl as far as getting the contract and stuff like that. Now, we just had an experience with trying to revamp the company and doing branding and marketing. Now, I'm not talking bad about the people. However, things didn't go the way they were supposed to. We didn't receive the products when we were supposed to receive it. When we received the product had minor errors. I mean, my son could have looked at it and saw that was an error. We sent it back. It took over 2 or 3 months to receive simple branding and marketing products. Now, this is with a Black-owned company, and again, I'm not speaking bad about it, because it wasn't just solely on that person's hand. However, it didn't go the way we thought it would go. Now, is it because it's a Black-owned? I don't know. But again, the next time, before, we were trying to look for a Black-owned bank that we wanted to do business with. And just the customer service alone
turned us off.
It turned us off. And it's unfortunate. It's like, yeah, you want to spend money with Black people, but if your service sucks, I'm not spending money with you. Point blank. So now what we need to do, like with Cheryl and Monica, I love what those sisters are doing, is they're teaching Black folks how to do business. Because Black folks, we got 2 problems. Yes, Black folks need to own business, but you need to know how to operate anything.
Absolutely.
But if you don't know how to operate, then you waste the time. And if you want to, chime in, Sister Cheryl, on that, but I think that's important, because you can't just do business for any kind of way and then expect me to spend my money with you. I'm not going to do it. I don't care if you brown, yellow, green. Not going to do it. Right. But that's the problem that we're actually having right now, and that might be a part of the problem where you see it scatter, because a lot of people they just choose. Look, I'm not going to spend money, with these people if it's garbage. You know what I'm saying? I need quality work.
Yeah, and like she said, we actually felt guilty. We felt a little guilty where it got to the point to where we had to say, you know what, we need to find us a company owned and operated by white folks. Like, we felt guilty having to say, all right, no, so now that we had these numerous not so pleasant experiences with you, now we got to go ahead and hire somebody, who's white, because unfortunately, I've had more professional experiences with white companies than I have with black companies. Now, that's not to say I have not went into a white company and, they didn't piss me off in some kind of way. I'm not saying that, but the ratio kind of outnumbers, the positive and negative experience. And like she said, it's unfortunate. And us even working with Monica and Cheryl, and one of the assignments is, like he said, get you a business bank account. Well, here in Atlanta, there was this whole movement of everybody take out your money from this bank, put it in this bank. All the rappers came out and stuff like that. And I guess their customer service was good then, when they had people, coming in droves and the celebrities was there. But I don't know what happened to the customer service now. So, I also feel like we need to get retrained in ethics and like she said, procedure and strategy. I think because part of our culture, in a sense, has been lackadaisical when it comes to business. Now, labor is one thing, but business, we've been a little bit lackadaisical, and we don't understand business etiquette, right? That's just like, for instance, and not to put her out, but and this is what Kia did, but when I told her about it, it stopped. So knowing what I do as a healer, astrologer, whatever, she was like, yo, she'll call me. She'll be like, yo, I got this friend. Read it. Can you read his chart? I'm like, yo, he gonna pay? You know what I'm saying? And she was like, well, I was thinking, I'm like, yeah, no, this is still a business. I don't like to call my gifts a business, but this is a part of how I eat. You know what I'm saying? So and I even did some things, vice versa, to where I'm just expecting her to do this and that third because she's my friend. And even to this day, we'll get like, oh, you in partnership, you have a business with your best friend. Oh no, look out. And I'm like, that's so negative, because every other culture hires their whole family as a part of their business. But you want to sit here and tell me that it's a bad idea to have a business with my best friend? That's because you may not know how to operate in your ethics and etiquette. Maybe.
That's right.
But don't come in and tell me, actually, I feel like me having a business with my best friend is one of the best things I could do, because not only are we binded by contract to do right, but we're also binded by our friendship and our loyalty to each other.
That's true.
That's that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I agree 100% with you. I just want to piggyback off of what both of you sisters said regarding establishing businesses, but not only just establishing these businesses, but teaching people how to run a business etiquette. How do you talk to your customers? Hell, how do you talk to other business people? You know what I mean? So I think that that's very, very important. And we're doing that in Baltimore. I just want to take this time to show folks what's going on here in Baltimore. This is posted on my Facebook page, but I can put this in the description box of the show. But down here in Baltimore at the Raymond Haysbert Senior Center for Entrepreneurship, we're running a workshop during the month of May, every Monday from 5 to 7 p.m. And so I'm there with my team, and we're going over these different topics, types of businesses, how to get your business registered. How do you create a business plan? How do you get customers or market? Customer service, contracts, goal setting, and ethics. So we're doing this. And then we're also going to be going through, a lawyer's coming in to talk about like the 48 laws of power and stuff like that. So I think that what you sisters said is definitely on point, that we need to not only teach them how to establish businesses, but teach them how to conduct these businesses. So this is the syllabus that I'm showing you guys. Mm-hmm. As you can see, it says Intro to Entrepreneurship Interactive Workshop. These are the hours. We're using a variety of references, but I want to go down here. Look at our workshop schedule. Okay, introductions, presentations, business terms, types of businesses, and then we're giving them a group assignment. So I'm not going to just stand there and lecture to them for an hour and a half. It's just like, okay, we're going to talk, and then we're going to do some group assessments, some group assignments. So look at this. I want to get to the stuff. Accounting, business etiquette, right? That's important. So I agree 100% with you. And then look at this. This is session 4. I'm going to have them present their business plan and critique them and give them an award. So we're going to pay like a Shark Tank sort of thing on the fourth session. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys, this syllabus, just to, piggyback off of what you guys were saying, that not only understanding how to start a business is important, but how to conduct yourself, your decorum. Some people don't have any damn coof, and so, not only should we teach you how to register.
Or tact.
Yeah. Or tact. And I agree with Sister Waukesha and Sister Riziki in that sometimes when we see that it's our people, we treat them totally different than we would, a European or an Arab or just somebody outside of our group of folks. And that's because we don't value ourselves. We don't accept
that's true.
And we don't even value ourselves. If you accept who you are and value who you are, that's going to transcend to I didn't even say transcend. Riziki, I'm over here gone right now. Go ahead, take the mic, Riziki.
I know. Okay. I agree wholeheartedly. But what I also would like to ask the panel, especially Kia, since you've been traveling all over, what has been your insights or perception from a worldview that hinders us here as a people, from progressing forward? I think we have a lot of ideologies, and I'll tell everybody who's listening, there are things that, from Kia traveling that she'll tell me, and I'm just like, wow, okay, I didn't think about it from that perspective. One example, I'm more interested in going to islands or countries in Africa than I am in Europe, because I'm like, man, now all that white stuff looks boring. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not interested in going to certain parts of Europe just because, European culture is boring to me. But then Kia's like, well, wait, because we everywhere. And this is what I've seen when I was in Greece, when I was in So Kia, I would like for you to tell the panel and everybody listening, like, from your worldview and all the places you've been, like, what are some major misconceptions that we have over here that's hindering us from progressing, like you're seeing these people do all over the country? Go ahead.
So I'm glad you did that, because I know that was one of the things I wanted to talk about, just really specifying how important it is to travel, because you can put your own two eyes on what you've learned in a book or what you've seen in a documentary or what you discuss with someone or whatever the case may be. The experience is most important, right? So what I've learned over the course of time, most recently being in Europe a lot. I just left from Estonia, which is northern Europe, close to Russia. I don't know if the sisters remember, earlier on when we first started, I was in Estonia, so I was close to Europe. Now, that is one of the places that I wouldn't typically say, hey, that's where I'm going to visit. But it's crazy because I learned so much about the country. One, being that it's 85% atheist, right? I didn't know that about the country, and I found that very interesting because although I don't use labels, I agree at least 90% of atheists' point of views and the way they think. So I thought that was very interesting. And the second thing that was very interesting about this country is that they have been oppressed by 4 different countries over the course of 400 years. Now, they've only been independent for 25 years. If you look up Estonia, you can research this, but they've only been independent 25 years. If you were to go to Estonia right now, you would have thought this country has been independent at least 100 to 200 years, because how forward thinking they are. And I asked one of the Estonian people why they were atheists, right? Because I'm like, dang, people that have been oppressed by another people, most of the times, normally you see people are very religious, right? The man looked at me to my face and he said, why would we believe in God when we picked ourselves up out of the ground? He said, why would we believe in God when we picked ourselves up out of the ground? He said, look around. What do you see? The highest ratio of people living in Estonia right now are elderly people and children. When I say elderly, these people are like 85 years old, healthy. This is in Europe. We don't know this because we have this misconception that all European people are the same and they are structured the same and their bodies tear down. You know, all these other ideologies that we have because we read in a book or what we see in America, and it's just simply not that true. The third thing that happened is that my coworker was with me and American, and we went into a restaurant, and he looked the Estonian dude, I think this guy was Russian, looked at the white guy and said, "We do not serve Anglo-Saxons." Looked at me and said, "We will serve you." But he looked at the white dude and said, "We don't serve Anglo-Saxons." True story.
Wait.
Okay, I forgot to share that with you.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Ziki, but I believe that 100%. Because we have to understand that white is just a class. I mean, come on, Riziki, you taught me this, sis.
I mean, no. I know that, but what? And that's why I was like, I need clarity because Estonians, and Russians, right, are considered European. So you're saying that one European will not serve another European because they're from a different European kind of background?
No.
Okay.
No, what I said was, I think this guy was either Estonian or Russian.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But my coworker was American, Anglo-Saxon.
A white guy.
Okay. Right. Okay. But he's a different. When they say Anglo-Saxon, that's a whole different kind of European.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Right. So they have. Wow.
Right. And so, like what she said, like so. But that's the thing you learn is that, remember yesterday I was talking to you and I said all of this is just it's a human experience, because you can go anywhere in the world and the same issues that you having, you see it somewhere else. Your issues are not isolated. These are literally human experiences. So what I've learned over the course of time, especially being in Europe and especially being in this part of Europe, right now I'm in Kosovo. And this Saturday I'm going to go to the capital city of Pristina, Kosovo. But I actually work in Bulgaria. So it's about 8-hour difference drive. But this is considered the Balkans. Where I was at before, it was the Baltics, right? Baltic share, Latvia, Lithuania. And I've been to all these places, Latvia, Lithuania, and Estonia. And then now I'm in the Balkans. So you have Bulgaria, you have Albania, you have Kosovo, you have the one, Albania, and Romania. Right now, when I got here, I had no idea how these people look, right? But it's Europe, right? But this is Southeast Europe, close to Greece. I was in Greece 2 weeks ago. Close to Greece, very close to Turkey. Turkey actually occupied the Balkans for 400 years. Turkey oppressed the Bulgarians, the Kosovos, the Albanians, and the Romanians for 400 years. So when you come out here, the people that you see people look my skin color to the lightest. Never see a blonde hair, blue eye. Never.
Wow.
And look at this. The population of the gypsies in this area is large. Now, when you see the gypsies, those are dark-skinned people. Right? And we all heard the myth of the gypsies being or descendants of Egypt, right? Which can be true because if you look on the map where we're located right above North Africa. If you look at the map where I'm at, and I'm sorry, I'm going into a whole geometry. I mean, not geometry. Okay, class. But where I'm located is Southern Europe, Southern East Europe. So it's close to, like I said, Greece. And then Greece, of course, is very close to Egypt, right? So now you have even your differences in that, right? You can't call a Kosovo person Bulgarian. That's a slap in the face. European countries, right? You go to Greece, strictly Greeks. Strictly Greek. And I don't know if you guys saw my pictures when I was in Greece and the videos when I was in Greece, but there were a lot of Africans there as well. But when I did the tour, they do pay homage to antiquity. I went to a museum, and my phone died, of course, but I went to a museum and they had statues and carvings and pottery and everything from antiquity. And they pay homage to antiquity for the Greek mythology. That you learn when you travel. To have this misconception that European countries don't pay homage to African history. That's a lie. That's a lie because I've seen it. And you ask them their history, and if you just play around and say, oh, you know you my cousin, or something like that, they say, oh yeah, I know. I know. The women here are thicker than me. I be seeing half of these, they shape like us. You hear me? And got an attitude like us. So I'm telling you. So so our history is rooted everywhere. And even just aside from just looking at from our history, you got to look at other people's history and their experiences. And then you take that and you learn and you become relatable. This is how you become relatable, and then you can start doing business international, and you start creating allies.
And I want to say
we cannot make our situation isolated.
Not to cut your wisdom, but this is what I got from everything that you said. When I hear these stories, and then also like I had to remove myself from being in this box of one particular culture, because when I realized that Black people are not the only people who have been oppressed. Now, there's different degrees of oppression, right? So you may think that Black people's oppression was the worst ever, but then I really can't say that 100% because I have not traveled the world to see and hear certain things for myself. And so when I take myself out of, oh, I'm the only one who's been oppressed like this, there's no more excuse to look for a handout to sit here and wait for reparations. There's no more excuse to sit around and be like, oh, well, you know, we going through this, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I think because we think we suffered the most, we feel like we're entitled to the most. And whenever you get to a point where you have a sense of entitlement, you start to get lazy, because entitlement simply means that you're meant to get something without actually doing work for it, right? Next thing. So even like with you know, just hearing these stories and a little bit of travel that I did to Amsterdam and Germany, and even seeing how when I was in Germany, how they may speak fluent Deutsch, but let a hip hop song come on and they know the whole thing English. You know what I'm saying? Like, they dressing like us, they trying to talk like that, whatever. And some white people or European people, let me wrap this up, are not all from the same origins. And this is why I had to stop saying I hate all white people, just like all Black people are not from the same tribe. And when I remove myself and say, listen, I existed before Kemet. Okay, I existed in Lemuria and Atlantis before the concept of I'm this color or I gotta worship this kind of God because of, you know, humanity falling. That puts me in a whole other perspective. So I can work with any and everybody. Now, who I sow my seeds to, you know, that's a different aspect. But I can't sit here and let these ideologies of, you know, I'm Black and I'm the only one, you know, or we're the only people who've experienced this, so I'm entitled and I'm just going to walk around angry and shit all the time. That's like, it's 2017 and we got to evolve beyond that. Go ahead, sis, or whoever.
Oh, no, I'm
sorry.
Go ahead,
okay,
sis.
I'm sorry.
I just wanted to chime in just to say that, you know, I agree with what you were saying. Both of you were talking about traveling. And it wasn't until my trip to Germany that I realized everyone does not live. Now, granted, have I been to the Caribbean? Of course. Everybody's gone to the Caribbean. That's going right down the street. I'm talking about getting a passport and going across the ocean and experiencing a totally different culture. Because even when you go to the Caribbean, and I've been to Trinidad, I've been to Tobago, I've been to Aruba, I've been, of course, to the Bahamas, Virgin Islands, St. Thomas, like I've been there. And we tried to preserve our culture down there for the most part, but it's still very Americanized. You get what I'm saying? So even when you're in Trinidad and Tobago, yes, the brothers and sisters look like us. No, you don't see McDonald's on every corner, but they're still, Americanized, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It wasn't until I got on a plane. This was in 2003. I had to go on my annual training for the military. At the time, my MOS was 73 Charlie. I was a finance specialist, but I heard since then they've changed the MOS. But I was 73 Charlie.
Yeah, 42.
It's 42 Charlie.
I think it changed to 42 because I was in the 42 series too as a human resource.
Oh, because I know they changed it now. But I was 72 Charlie, finance specialist, and we had to go do our AT. I was a reservist, so every year I had to go away for training every for 2 weeks. And so in 2003, we went to Darmstadt, Germany. So we got on the plane. We flew from Baltimore to Chicago, and from Chicago into Frankfurt. All right.
Mm-hmm,
so it wasn't until, so I'm over there kicking it, and one of my buddies, I don't know if she's watching, she might be watching, Sister Latrice, while we were over there kicking it, we took a 5-hour bus ride to France. And initially I wasn't going to go. And she said, Bailey, because of course in the military, they call you by your last name. She said, Bailey, when are we going to be able to be 5 hours away from Paris again? She said, while we're here, let's take this tour. Let's pay this extra couple $100 and let's go. And I'm so glad that she made me go because, my jaw dropped. When I was out there in France, touring and looking at different things, my jaw dropped when I got to France. I'm standing in front of Concourse Square and I see a daggone Tekken in Concourse Square. And I didn't even know at that time that I was looking at a piece of our history. I was just wondering, I said, why is there a Tekken in the middle of Concourse Square? But it wasn't until I did my due diligence that I found out that they went over to Kemet and blew up the structures and shipped them, into France. And that was one of the structures. And I was looking at it in 2003, but I had no idea, almost 24 years ago. Hold on, 24 years ago? Oh my goodness, 14 years ago. 14 years ago, what I was looking at. So anyway, and then I went to Germany. And while we were in Darmstadt, Germany, we went to Mannheim, Ranheim. We went all around Germany. And the big difference that I noticed between the Germans and the French and then the European Americans is that they value family. They value time. I didn't see the hustle and bustle and people breaking their necks to get to work and breaking their necks to get to school. They were very relaxed. They were laid back. Around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, the town shut down. Everybody came home. They ate with their children. They took naps. And I'm talking about a 2-hour shutdown from 12 to 2. They shut down. They're with their family. They go home. They get rejuvenated. Then the children go back to school. The adults go home. And then guess what? They shut the town down again around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. They value family. They value their time. And that was the biggest difference that I saw, between American culture and the, European culture, specifically the European nations that I visited back in 2003. So like these sisters are telling you, please go get your passport.
Yes.
Travel and don't limit yourself. And I'm with Sister Riziki 100%. Do not limit yourself only to African culture. Dr. Amos Wilson said that when we limit ourselves to only studying our own culture, our own writings, then we are limiting our perception.
Yeah.
Limiting your perception. When you say, I'm only going to study African culture, I'm not studying anything else. As a matter of fact, Dr. John Henry Clarke said that when he wanted to study true African culture, that his teacher in New York told him, before I teach you African culture, go study other cultures. Go study European culture. So he mastered European culture. And then he started studying African culture. He was able to notice things. Oh, okay, they did take this from us. Or, oh, we did, learn these things. He was able to compare and contrast. He had a base. So don't limit yourself, brothers and sisters. I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic.
And I want to say this is that although we may have started certain things, we also have to pay homage to those who took what we started and
expanded
and made it better.
Absolutely.
And made it better. We have to be real with that. And you learn that as you travel. Just, just even when we went to Africa, when we went to Kenya, one of the things that I did see in Kenya is that, okay, yeah, all of them are Kenyans, but the customer service, the way they treated each other was superb. They didn't. It won't like, hey, give me five. At least we didn't see that. Give me $5 off. Give me this. No, it wasn't like that. And then another thing with Jamaica. Now, I have a small business in Jamaica, and I don't mention it a lot because I actually forget sometimes because I just get revenue off of it. But I have ATM machines in Kingston, Jamaica, and Portmore, Jamaica, to be more specific. But when you go to Kingston specifically, because I've never been to what you call it, Mobay and all that other stuff. I just been to Kingston, and when you go there, they do not own the businesses. And look at this. Let me tell you how I got on. I was actually flying I forgot where I was going, and a British guy, he put me on. He walked me step by step because he was very intrigued by my intelligence, so me wanting to know stuff, right? And he was very intrigued that I was just traveling wherever I was traveling. I don't even know where I was traveling at that time, or leaving somewhere. And he walked me step by, matter of fact, I think I was going to Jamaica. He walked me step by step, showed me the invoices. This is in the airport. Showed me the invoices, and he said, I will walk you through it. After he did it, never spoke to the man a day in my life. Actually, I got a friend who looked out for me down there who got deported and anyway, who I work with. Another instances. I was in Ethiopia and on the way to Mombasa, or either leaving Mombasa, but I was in Ethiopia in the airport, and I met an Indian guy. And because I've worked with Indians for about 3 years in Afghanistan, I know a little Hindi. And I told you about this one, right, Rizzy? And
yeah.
He said something, and I said shukriya, which is thank you in Hindi, right? Which is very close to Arabic, shukran, right? But anyway, he was very surprised when I said it. He said, "You know Hindi?" And I said, "I know a little bit." And then he did something else, and I said another word in Hindi, and he was like, "I'm gonna buy you something to eat. I'm gonna buy you something to eat. Come on." So we went to the restaurant in the airport, and we started talking, and I was telling him where I was coming from or going to, whatever, Mombasa, and I was doing business. We trying to do business in Mombasa, me and my best friend, whatever. And he said, "What?" And I think at that time I was like 28 or something like that. And he's like, "What? Are you serious?" I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "Let me show you something." Same situation, no lie. Pulled out the invoices, showed me everything. I said, "We're trying to do export and importing into Kenya, into Mombasa." He said, "I tell you what. You email me, and I'm gonna have you come to Dubai." And but long story short, I met somebody that was willing to do business with me in a freaking airport because I was open-minded, free to expanding, free to build allies with other people and just speak.
And because you knew part of their culture, I realized.
And I was yes, everywhere I go, I am very interested in the culture. It doesn't matter what is it, European, Asian, whatever. I still remember freaking Korean. What's the Korean language? I forgot the Korean language, but I still remember the Korean language. When I go to Kenya, I certainly remember a whole bunch of words in Swahili. Even in Europe, I'm starting to learn the Bulgarian language now or whatever. When I was in Estonia, I made sure I learned a couple words in Estonian. Like I make sure, and I make sure I eat the culture food. I make sure I find out what their culture is. I certainly drink the culture drink, and I make sure I just really learn who the people are. And yeah, that does make a difference. I don't know where I was going with that, but I wanted to share that story with y'all. But I'm done.
No, but sis, I agree with you. Like when you travel, you got to drink the culture. That's why when I went to Trinidad, I kicked it with one of my homies. It was a sister I met. She was attending Morgan State University. Her name was Odesma, and she was from Trinidad. And I remember saying to Odesma, she's like, "I'm going home." I said, "What you doing this summer?" She said, "I'm going home." This is in 2004. She said, I'm going home. I said, okay. I said, you mind if I come home and kick it with you? You know, she said, you sure you want to do that? I said, absolutely. She said, okay. She said, you know, I may not have the best accommodations, but, you know, I said, look, I'm coming home.
Yeah.
I'm coming home with you. I said, let your family know I'm coming home. I went, chilled with her, stayed with her mom. Her mom is now an ancestor. But they took very, very good care of me. Her mother made sure, you know, it was funny because when I first got on the island, you know, we're driving through, I think we flew into Port of Spain. So we flew into Port of Spain. We driving down. They used to call it the Drag Mall. The Drag Mall burned down, you know, a few years ago. But, you know, we kicking it in Port of Spain. We ride through the Drag Mall. And, you know, they on the way to the house, her mom said, would you like to stop at the supermarket to get foods that you may like to eat? So at that time, this is 2004. So I was done with pork and beef, you know, when I was 12 and 18. So this 2004, I'm probably 23 at the time. And I remember saying I was on my chicken and turkey kick. So I said, yeah, stop me at the market, you know, because I didn't know, you know, this was my first time. You know, I went to Germany and all that, but I didn't know this environment. I didn't know what kind of foods they had or whatever. So I said, yeah, please stop me at the market. So we go past the market. I'm grabbing turkey hot dogs, you know, things that I know, American shit, right? So they take me home. Her mother prepared a meal for me, ate it, tore it up. Needless to say, those turkey hot dogs stayed in that refrigerator for the 2 weeks that I was there. I mean, they cooked for me every day, and I loved the dishes. You know, I had the bacon shark and the fish pie. And, you know, like you said, Sister Kia, you got to drink the culture. We went to the museums. We went through, I was with the people. I didn't live on a resort for those couple of weeks. I was in the home. So guess what? When the water pressure got low and it was drip, drip, and we had to, you know, deal with the water pressure, I just had to deal with it. So I lived right. Live, you know what I mean? And I think that's the best kind of travel, you know, when you actually go and you know somebody and you can stay with a family, like she said, to really drink the culture and to get an understanding of the culture. That was one of my best experiences, Sister Kia, going over somewhere and kicking it with the people, not on a resort, you know, not in a hotel, not sightseeing and getting back on your cruise ship. I'm saying, and like she said, drink the culture and do not limit yourself. Don't limit yourself.
I want to start I'm sorry, Riziki, if you was I'm gonna say this be done. I want to I was thinking about starting a travel group for real. The latter part of this year and maybe the beginning of next year. But I did post on my Facebook the other day, but I do want to go to Cambodia and Vietnam the end of this year, maybe for New Year's Eve. I was thinking about going to both those places. I think I'm gonna go to Spain the end of this month, and that's another place where we got a whole bunch of history. So I'm gonna post pictures when I go to Spain this month. And I went Macedonia too. When we went to Macedonia, bunch of history, our history too. Yeah. But if anybody who's watching want to join me to go to Cambodia or Vietnam, check me out on Kia Walcatio Simmons on my Facebook. Kia Walcatio Simmons, inbox me or let me know if y'all want to go. But I want to do that trip. And if the sisters want to go ahead and join in, y'all welcome to go. I'm going to Spain the end of this month, and I'm doing Haiti in August. Between what is that? What's the date? You remember, Rizzy? August the
27th through the
no.
Or the 24th.
No, we leaving the 30th. We leaving the 30th. We leaving the 30th.
Oh yeah, that's right.
To the 4th. The 27th we're gonna be in Charlotte partying for my birthday for my 35th. But anyway, but 30 from the 30th to the 5th we're going to Port-au-Prince. We're going to Port-au-Prince, Haiti, and we're going to Labadie, which is the west coast of Haiti. Beautiful blue seas. I mean, like Dominican Republic. So we're doing that in August, and then the latter part of this year, I'm going to try to do Cambodia and Vietnam. So,
and just to remember that we've always been travelers. You know what I'm saying? Like we've always been on an international realm, and again, understanding that, you know, even since the conception of quote unquote humanity in the area of what we now know today as Africa. Understand that everybody did not always stay there. We spread all over, you know, so our culture, like there's different bits and pieces of our full picture everywhere. And this is another reason why too, you know, a lot of children are raised to learn more than one language, because when you come into somebody else's house, it is a sign of respect to know something about their culture, their language. So even if it's thank you or hi or hello in their language, it shows something. And just like, you know, I know it's important for us to stick together and work together, but same thing in Kia's instance, both times when I was on my way to Kenya, it was first an Indian man showing me things about business, and then a man from Germany showing. And I think that's when I showed y'all how him and his friend came up with the fire extinguisher to be implanted in the cars, because when they crash on the Autobahn in Germany, there's no way for the ambulance to get on there. So again, I just feel like, you know, we have to stop limiting ourselves. And, you know, I can't sit here and act like, again, I can't work with any white person, because there have been white people who have showed me things black people would not. And I also understand, again, not all white people come from the same tribe. They're not all poisoned with, if you will, with hate and malice, and you know what I'm saying? So and when I say white, I'm talking of the European culture. I don't care if it's, you know, Amsterdam or Bulgaria or whatever. And I just want us to realize we have, like, that this is what's limiting ourselves. We have been trying for the last, I don't know how many years, to only work within our own culture to uplift ourselves, you know, and let's be real. How are these results? How are the results? And so again, I can't keep putting myself in the same circle if it's not working. I have to expand it. You know what I mean? So I still love my people. I still love my culture, but I'm also realistic that some of our shit stinks. Okay. And I don't have the time to wait for us to get it all together. Then that's hindering my progress. So
that's true. That's a fact.
Yeah, I can't do it.
That's a fact though, Riziki, because, you know, a lot of people, you know, one of the criticisms that I came under was, why does Dr. Ma'at have a European little girl in the Meltrek cartoon? Because Dr. Ma'at is not, first of all, let me take my time with this one, sisters.
Go ahead, take your time, girl. Take your time, sis.
So first of all,
you go in the dogmatic thing, because this gonna go into people being overly dogmatic.
Right.
Exactly.
Down in my
no. So the reason why I did that, it was first of all, Meltrek was created for everyone. You know, now even though my target audience is our children are my primary, I mean, they are my first concern. They are my highest of highest priorities.
Rightfully so.
However, Meltrek is an educational animation series for all children. So even though the content is African centered, it's still for all children, so that other children can learn who we really are, not who someone is telling them what and who we are. That we're telling the story of who we are to other cultures instead of the dominant culture telling our story for us.
Right.
So that's the first thing. And second thing is, diversity allows you to move in different circles. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if you have an all black cast, now when I talk about it, when I'm marketing Meltrek, I'm out marketing it to everyone. So I'm in school.
That's right.
You know, and when you go into schools, a lot of schools, whether it's a predominantly, like Baltimore is a predominantly, I don't even want to say it's predominantly black anymore, just like DC, and, you know, because of gentrification, a lot of white folks move right back into the city of Baltimore. But, you know, you go to these Baltimore City public schools and you don't have just black students in these schools. You have Asians now. Now they are the lowest percent. They are the lower percentages, but you have Asians, you have Hispanics, and you do have poor whites in these schools. And yes, Dr. Maya is going to say this. I believe that when a child is watching an animation series, that they should be represented in that series. And you know what I noticed? That when and even when I took Meltrek to this other school in DC, Dorothy Heights Elementary School, that school was predominantly Hispanic. All right. And I didn't have a Hispanic child in the cartoon, and I felt kind of bad. But that school was predominantly Asian and Hispanic. But the Asian kids love Meltrek. You know, the kids, they love it. They gravitate to it. They see themselves in the video. So I think that seeing yourself represented in the video will also facilitate you in digesting the information, being receptible to, the receiving information. You know, so anyway, I don't believe in limiting myself. Yes, I do have a diverse cast in Meltrek, and I will continue to have a diverse cast in Meltrek until I see fit.
As you should.
And to have an all-black cast. If I feel like having an all-black cast, I will. But right now, I have a diverse cast. I have children from all different walks of life represented in that cast. But my content, I want to say this, my content is all African-centered.
Yes.
It's all
yes.
You know,
and just to,
I'm not limiting myself.
Yeah,
that's right.
And sis, by the way, speaking of Meltrek, and this is kind of like transitioning. What's up, sis Monica?
Hey,
I had a very eventful.
I was saying.
I had a very. Okay. Yeah, I had a very eventful weekend this past weekend. Where on Saturday evening I was teaching sacred sexuality to adults, and then Sunday I was teaching children about astronomy/astrology. And there's this sister Zima Lovefire who started this school called the Indigo School of Light, and it's for children who were born in this existence and they gravitate towards certain mystical or metaphysical things like naturally. And so there were 33 girls, and these are all Black girls. There were 33 girls in the class, and before this day, I haven't met any of them. So as I'm pulling their charts and I'm noticing certain things, and I'm making stars by these little children because I'm like, wow, they have a stellium here, whatever. And so I get to the class, and it was just so beautiful to see all of these children having their gifts cultivated. And when I walked in, they were wrapping up, like how to make jewelry, because one thing I love about this school is not only do they teach you metaphysical things, but they also teach you things where you can actually apply and make some money for yourself. And so when it was break time, I automatically heard, like this beat come on, and I'm like, hold up, I know this ain't Meltrek, girl. I got up so quick, and I grabbed this snack, and I was sitting with the kids, like, like watching it and stuff, and just watching the children, like, and I think, I don't know who the little boy was, but he was rapping, and I was like, oh snap. And it was just really cool to see, like, the children bobbing and rocking out to it. And the sister who does the school, she didn't know that you and I worked together, and she was just really excited to know that, she had brought somebody on board to teach the children, and then I'm connected to you. And so we talking about like your next episode that's about to drop. You know what I mean? So that's all like, sis.
Look, let me turn my camera this way. I don't want you to see me. Hold on.
Oh, you straight.
I don't want people to look. It's right here.
Oh,
it's right
snap.
Here,
is that the prototype?
It's right here. I'm holding the master copy right now. Hold up. I got it upside down. I'm sorry. I got it upside down.
It's okay.
I'm holding the master copy of Meltrek episode 2, because there were a lot of people that thought because we had hiccups in the production, she didn't finish the product. I stole my $20. Right here. This is the master copy of the DVD. I'm going to have 50 Meltrek DVDs available on Saturday when I get down to Atlanta, and I got 1,000 of them coming in 2 weeks. So yes, the product is finished. Tell my brother Sean P. I know Sean P. is watching. Your DVD is on the way, King. Your DVD is on the way.
So we gotta take you by the school, because again, Zima was like straight up, she wanted to get 33 of your DVDs for the children, so they could have, that to take home. But I said all that to say, when I was teaching these children, I'm realizing it motivated me how much further I need to step my game up. Because when I understand about energy and generations, that there's certain people who are born during a certain time that, you know, they operate and vibrate on a certain level. So I understand why our ancestors thought the way that they thought. I understand why our ancestors did the things that they did, because of the energy or frequency that they were operating from.
That's
when
right.
These children who are like, man, I'm telling you, the girls who I made the star by, coincidentally or not coincidentally, these were the girls who were asking the most questions. So when I would go over, hey, you know, yes, this is how our ancestors used astronomy. And then as time evolved, different cultures, you know, brought about astrology from astronomy, so forth and so on. And so, you know, every 2 minutes, these girls are raising their hand. Well, yeah, because I've already started working with the moon and being in tune. And the other girls are like, well, did you know that, you know, our ancestors, da, da, da. So it's like these young girls or these young children are coming into this universe with ancestral knowledge already. So it's not like they have to waste time trying to find out. I'm not going to say waste time. It's not like they have to utilize time trying to find out who they are and where they come from. They're coming in with the knowing and they're ready to go. So we as adults have to work even harder to cultivate an environment for them to thrive in. Because right now, how we're operating, it's like, you know, I just don't want their vibration to be dimmed down because we didn't set things up properly for them. Does that make sense? So, go ahead, sis. Oh, and yeah, nephew.
No.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my son on point. But shout out Xavier.
Yes.
But no, I agree 100%. But I think the easy method is just to allow them to be themselves, no limitations. Limitations. And that was why one of the reasons why I wanted to really talk about this whole dogma thing that's in the community or amongst us who claim to be enlightened, because we, like I say all the time, you leave from one prison only to find yourself in another prison because you limit your thinking by what you think is right or how it's supposed to look, or this is the food that you're supposed to eat, or this is the earrings that you're supposed to wear, your hair is supposed to be this way. And I do believe that those things are important. I think that they are applicable, you know the word, y'all know the word.
Yeah.
In certain instances, that word. But we have to start recreating some of the situations. Yes, we can take from our ancestors. Yes, we can look to them and say, hey, this is how we did it, and we can make it fundamental or practical in our life. But then we also can start recreating it so that you can use it in the here and now. Like we were talking about last week about us, maybe the way our ancestors used to eat or something like that. Your body is not even made up the same way that it used to be, 3,000 years ago, whatever the case may be. So we have to be realistic about where we're at in the times that we're in. And so I think the answer, one of the answers, is just to completely let our kids be who they are, and to have no limitations. In all actuality, these kids don't see race. They don't see none of that stuff. And the greatest thing that we were born with was peace and imagination. Because the world that we see today is a created concept. Everything that you see.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited right now. Like she got me over here excited by what she did.
Okay, go ahead, sister. Go ahead. No, I'm just saying that the reality the reality that we think we see and that we know is actually not reality, but we can return back to that. We can return back to that. But and that's it. That's it. Go, I'm done.
No, I was just sitting here. I told my sons the other day, I said, man, what you're looking at is the reality that you exist in, or the reality that you're witnessing, that you're bearing witnessing to. This is a reality that was created out of someone else's consciousness.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so when she just said that, I'm like, we said the exact same thing. Like, you know, when I'm looking at this whole system and how you know, we're maneuvering, how we were born into the system, you know, how we're maneuvering in this system. This system was created out of the consciousness. So that means out of the mind of another group of other people. Period. And even
that's right.
And even I can go personal and not even just say the system. I can talk about a personal experience. My family's from Sumter County, South Carolina, right?
Okay, Charleston in the building.
Hey, so look, right? So my grandmother decided, she dropped out of school when she was in the 6th grade. She worked on the tobacco farms. Around the age of 18, she wanted better. So she was like, I'm gonna go north. So they all started going north, and they end up settling a lot. Some people settled in DC. Some people kept going, to Baltimore. Some people kept going all the way to New York. Now, my grandmother at that time, she had 2 children. She had my uncle and my mom, and they were born in Sumter County, South Carolina. The other 5 children, all of them had the same dad, but they were born when they got to Baltimore. Now you say, well, Dr. Maya, why did you tell me this? Okay. Had my grandmother had not decided to go to Baltimore, you may not be looking at Dr. Ma'at right now. I might be somebody else, but she made that decision to go to Baltimore, and then she came back. She got my mother and my uncle, brought them to Baltimore. My mother grew up. She met my dad. You get what I'm saying? So I'm just showing how consequences of other people's decisions, or the outcome of other people's decisions affects your life, So then my aunt and uncles, they were all by the same dad. So what if my grandmother said, you know what, I'm not going to Baltimore. I'm going to stay in Sumter County, South Carolina. Then my aunties and uncles who marry people in Baltimore and they produce my cousins, we may not all even be, I'm pretty sure that it would have linked up eventually. But what I'm saying is different genes, different settings and all of that. So I'm just going in to say how, your reality is really created, by something else. My reality, I'm in Baltimore. I grew up in Baltimore. Why? Well, because my grandmother decided to come to Baltimore. My mother married a guy from Baltimore, and they had me and they raised me here. So this is my reality. I grew up in Baltimore. So I was just using that example to show people that, like you said, your reality is created out of the minds of people, whether it's your people, whether it's
but you're a part of that too.
Yeah, you definitely are.
You are a part of, and I always say this, and I said, I'm sorry, Dr. Mayat.
No, go ahead. Go ahead, sis.
But I always tell Rizzy, I said that although, yes, the matrix exists, right, which is just a system, right, a created system created by consciousness, collective consciousness, right? So if we know that it's collective consciousness, you also have to agree that you are a part of the matrix. You can never disconnect yourself from the matrix because you created them. You were a part of the creation of that system, right? But again, the gag is that you have the options to pick either the blue or the red pill. You don't have to just pick one, right? You can pick and choose what you're willing to plug yourself into and what you're willing to plug yourself out to. But the question is how do you reach the pureness of that imagination that you once had? How do you really unlock your brain to get to the point where you are limitless, where no one dictates what your reality looks like, but you completely dictate what it looks like for you wholeheartedly, and it is practical in your life, because a lot of people can say all day, my biggest thing is self-love, right? People say it all day. It's a very cliche saying, right? But how many people really make that practical in your life, right? I found out the other day that I really wasn't loving myself because my weight. I've been talking about, I want to lose weight. But what are you doing to make that change? Do you really love yourself enough to make that change, to make that practical in your life? So you take control of what I try to do is master myself in certain instances, right? Like this week, I was completely okay with not having internet access, right? So I'll go to the room and I'm without internet. So I'm not on Facebook. I'm not on anything. I'm totally without internet. And you know what book I chose to read? I chose to read the Bible this week. I literally went from Genesis to Exodus this week. And the crazy thing is that although I do not subscribe to any one ideology, and I certainly don't subscribe to a God outside myself or any higher power or anything like that, I learned that even in that book, there were lessons in there that absolutely made absolutely no fucking sense. but some actually made sense that I can actually use some, apply it to my life, right? But I was in a space of quietness, of self-control, right? And it taught me how to master myself in certain way. I don't know where the hell I was going with that, but the point is, how do we get to a place where we experience in true reality, our own reality? I think that's where I was going with that.
Yeah, but I wanted to piggyback off of what you were saying regarding the Bible. I love to read the Bible. Those stories, I'm telling you, it was like when I was reading the story, so and so killed the wife and then married the husband. I said, "Oh my goodness!" It was like,
you should see my notes.
A thriller.
You should see my notes,
man. David over there. He killed Bathsheba's husband, but then he had the side piece, Jonathan. He was doing this thing with Jonathan. I said, man,
side piece.
It's true. It's true.
Like reading, The Young and the Restless or The Bold and the Beautiful. It's always something going on. It's war. It's sex. It's murder. It's greed. So I'm not being disrespectful.
Even God was a trip.
And God was a truth.
It matters in the perspective you're reading it from. And then I definitely want to hear from Sis Monica, because she came on and ain't said nothing yet. But I just want to say this real quick. So when I had left, because y'all had brought up the Bible, when I recently visited my mother in Durham and we was cleaning out some things, this was in the house. And mind you, she's staying in the house that my grandparents left her when they just recently passed like 2 years ago. And so I said something in my spirit, say, you know what, go ahead and take one of your grandmother's Bible, to see her writings and her notes. And you know what I mean? Like the things that she highlighted, not only was a way for me to connect with her, but for me to really understand, like, my thing as a healer is I got to meet people where they are. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't meet somebody who's coming from a Christian background or who's heavily into Christianity and try to talk to them in a Kemetic or African center or whatever, to try to get them to understand where they need to go. So I say, you know what, I'm going to start reading the Bible so that if I meet somebody or if I need to relate to somebody, I can meet them where they are. So if all you understand is scripture to get the message I need you to get, then I'm going to go ahead and recite some scripture in order for me to have a better dialogue, or if somebody wants to question or debate, whatever, at least I've done the proper research and can, you know what I mean, say that I've read this from front to back in order to meet people where they are. And again, I don't believe in throwing out the baby with the bathwater. I do believe with my spirit of discernment that I can take what's in here and decipher what's BS and what's the truth, what I can leave alone and what I can take away. Go ahead, Sis Monica. What you got to say, boo?
Peace to everybody. In reference to that particular topic, that's what you just said. From a certain reference point.
I can't hear you. Somebody got to mute their background. Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me now? I think I got my phone down.
Okay, go ahead, sis.
So I was going to say, just in reference to that particular topic, is that to have a reference point and to be able to refer someone to what actually works for them is it's a good idea. And then based off of some of the other things that were said, I think Kia was speaking on in reference to just knowing you and getting to that place. I think we get in a lot of people, including myself at some point, get influenced by external people that wants us to do what they want us to do. And we call it power and control, or power and authority. And so they want you to live the way they live. They want you to clean your house the way they clean their house, use the same products, just from the appearance of the earrings to the clothes you wear to this. And so I got to a point and I was like, you know what? Don't ask me to comb my hair a certain way, because I'm going to comb it the way I want to. Don't come to my house telling me I need to use Fabulosis because I might want to use Pine Sol today, okay? Go find old incense to burn. Don't ask, because it's just too much. It's too much stress. It's too much stress. So I find that the older I get, the more stress I get. And I know that the more stress you get, the more unhealthy you become. And so I just had to, I let people talk. I let people talk, and then I go find some space. And whatever I pick up to hear that is, meditation and relaxation. I had a friend this past weekend that got overwhelmed with anxiety because another friend who always seems to think that they're doing the right thing, always stressing other people out, but nobody wants to say nothing to them. Because they don't want to hurt their feelings or cause them to withdraw. And so I told her, I said, become unemotionally attached to people. You got to see people, let people do what they want to do, but then when it comes concerning your life and you feel like you're about to get at the edge, act like you're listening, but just don't. If you don't have the fortitude or the professionalism to tell someone that, hey, listen, you stressing me out, that's too much for me. I can't do that. I can't do what you want me to do. I can't dress the way you want me to dress. I can't raise my kids the way you want me to raise my kids. I can only do what I see that I can handle at this time. And if you don't do that, if you don't learn to either fake it till you make it, then you will stay at the hospital with anxiety and relying on medicines to get you through. And so I felt really, really bad because, I had to reach out and I had to tell her, I say, listen, I know people say Mo ignores you. She's selfish. She do her own thing. No, Mo has to take care of her health. And you guys stress me out. And I can't do it, So you got back way. And a lot of times that when people have those identity issues, they're going through what they're wearing and they can't relate. Like I have a huge, and I probably said this before on a previous show, we got a huge issue right now where people they upset because we want to identify with African culture. I don't get it. Why are you upset with me? Because I want to be, because I like, exploring and finding out about the background.
Talk about it. You go
do what you do. So it's too much stress. And that person said, I'm sorry, let me say this last point. That person said,
I'm sorry.
Hey, said, hey, Mo, I want to say this, but I can't say it in front of certain people because I know how to feel. You guys know the pastor that came out and said that he no longer subscribes or whatnot. Well, she carrying across the video and she said, I've been feeling like this for a long time, but I know I can't say it in front of certain people. And so I told her, learn to focus on food, clothing, and shelter and how to take care of you and your family. And if you're thinking in terms of ministry, think in terms of how can you help someone and don't get caught up in a box of control. Right. And you'll kind of, leave your spirituality the way you want. And then you can kind of channel life, because if you get caught up on who's right and who's wrong, even though, once you start to study and explore, it'll reveal as it come along. But it's not up to me to tell you that.
Right. It's a waste of time even trying to have that debate.
Yeah. And you're going through anxiety now. So if I even tell you, it's gonna be worse. So what you need to do, I use I use UNC's terms all the time. Just focus on food, clothing, and shelter.
Right.
You'll be all right.
And it's crazy you said that because and I posted this earlier too. There was a post that a sister did about her child being in school, and the stuff that they're teaching in school is going against what they teach in the church. And she was like, as far as how we became whatever. And then I had simply post like, listen, well, hey, have you really thought to think maybe some stuff in the Bible isn't all the way accurate? And my point was, at the end of the day, all you could do as a parent is to teach your child what you know to be true, even if you feel the truth is in this Bible. So she got a little like offended, like, well, you believe what you believe, and I believe what I believe. And I'm like, well, pump your brakes. I'm not saying for you to believe what I believe. And I was like, no, I don't believe we came from a rib. But if you want to teach your child that, then okay, if you want to teach him that, that's cool. But guess what? At the end of the day, he's going to come into his own understanding when he starts to learn to research for himself. And so then a pastor gets on there and he's like, well, I have scientific proof that I was like, oh, great. Since I want to learn, can you give me references as to the scientific proof that we came from a rib? And she's like, well, you know, you don't have to. Da, 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 da. And I just said, look, I'm not trying to harm nobody. But again, you know, this is, I want to learn genuinely. So the pastor hit me up and said, I'm willing to talk to you. I was like, great. So we're on Facebook Messenger, and we're on the phone for about 2.5 hours. And of course, everything that I have to say or question, he reverts back to the Bible, even though the Bible is one of the things I put in question in the first place. But you know what? By the end of that conversation, he understood my perspective. I understood his perspective, and we cool. I'm not going to sit up there and not like you because you a Christian. A lot of the values and the principles that I have, a lot of the morals reflect the same thing that you reflect, that you have. So at the end of the day, there's more than one path to get to this one destination. You know what I'm saying? And when I was a Christian and called on Jesus, there was times when things happened. When I was studying the Islam religion and called on Allah, there were times things happened. Buddhism, Hinduism, even, you know, working with Orisha. No matter what belief system I was a part of, if I truly believed it was going to work, it worked. And so at the end of the day, I'm the common denominator, right? So I can go out and meditate to a tree and something is going to happen because I believe with my whole heart, spirit, mind, and body that it was going to work. So for me, I'm to a point where debating about religion is pointless because whatever you believe in will work. That's all I had to say.
I agree with that. Go ahead, Sister Waukesha. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, I wanted to shift the conversation.
Okay.
Since we just chilling. Yes. And we talking about real stuff now. Who is single on this panel? Who is single? I'm single.
I'm single.
Is you single? You single?
I'm not single.
You're not single.
I'm
all right.
I'm single.
So, well, I'm just over here.
So it don't matter, but okay.
No. I'm laughing because how our sister Kia switched up because we were going deep. We was going. We went. We all.
Yeah, we were supposed to be chilling.
I know.
That's what I want to talk about now. Because as powerful as these women are on the panel, aside from Dr. Mayad, I'm lightweight jealous. Now, but
yeah, we've been going.
Why?
For 6 years.
I don't want to hear that. Now, look, you got to hear our story. No, I'm happy for you. But let's talk about it. Because it's like, I've been working on myself. Yeah. Look, I've been working on myself for so many years. And then I run into these men who either it's the wrong time or they're what is it? It's the wrong time or they're intimidated by me.
Yeah, you hear that. Yeah.
Huh?
I say intimidating.
Yeah. So then what are we supposed to do? Because I know I ain't supposed to be single forever. So I'm reaching out to see if one of you sisters can help me out. Because I would be 35 in August, and you know the kid is getting old, even though I still look young. But the point is I'm getting old.
You so silly. You know.
So I don't want you to answer it, Rizzy, no, because you're my best friend. So, Sister Monica, what you got for me? And then Dr. Mayat, since you got a man and you got a man for 6 years, because tell me something.
It was rough. That was a bumpy 6 years. It was a bumpy 6 years, but we kicking it. But go ahead. I'll let Sister Monica handle that, and I'll chime in and talk about my own.
Just share your experience, Sister Monica. I mean, I don't know if you having the same issues I'm having, but
hold on, give me a second.
She got to go private to talk about this, honey.
You gotta go close the door. You gotta go close the door and dim the lights.
See that real sister talk right here, because I know with some sisters in the room probably like, yes, let's talk about it.
I know I'm ready. I need to find
We
my
know
life
you ready.
partner too.
Yeah, we know you ready.
Don't do me. Don't do me. Okay. But I feel worse because even as like a sacred sexpert or whatever, I'm like, damn, and like I can't even, so it gets frustrating sometimes. I understand, but I'm definitely interested in hearing other perspectives. Yes.
Yeah, hurry up, Sister Monica.
What was the?
Oh, she had to go outside, honey. She had to go outside.
Because I had to laugh. She said, "What was the question?"
Look at Rochelle talking about some. Yep, let's talk about it. Okay, go ahead.
One more
That's
time.
right.
The question: why we?
No, well, I was just giving you just some of my issues as to what I've seen as far as just dating men and them saying what the issue may be or whatever, and I'm just trying to figure out should should we accept that as a compliment and I don't know. I'm torn right now. So I just want to know what your experience is and what you've been doing to try to attract the right man, because I know I've been working on some things to attract my husband, and the first one is being vulnerable and just putting my feelings out there.
Yes.
We gonna get into it, Dr. Maya. We gonna get into
it. Yeah.
Being vulnerable.
What I've done, well, kind of being in the military, kind of interfered with anything steady, especially when it comes down to a husband. And so my military career consisted of in between deployments, overseas assignments. And so it just wasn't, after the last dating experience, it just wasn't conducive for me because once you put distance in place, a lot of people have a lot of issues. So what I've done was I'm not doing things to attract a husband, and I don't go out of my way. But what I've learned to do over the years, there's 3 books that kind of helped me, and these are Christian books, but that's where I was at the time, right? But they're really, really good. The first one was by Bishop T.D. Jakes, The Lady, Her Lover, and Her Lord. The second
I
one
heard
was
that one.
The Power and Purpose of a Woman by Dr. Miles Monroe. Totally exposed a lot of female characteristics and who you are. And then the last one was Teach Me How to Love You by Dr. Anita Bynum, right? And Bishop Reese.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so those books right there gave me some realities of what I needed to work on me. And I always said if I would have actually married someone earlier on in my early 20s, I would have messed them up because it was a lot of wanting what I didn't want. I didn't really care. I could say what I want. It wasn't a matter of, okay, let's see how compatible we are. Can we work together? And so now at the point, I'm 40, so I'm at the point in my life right now where I look for the characteristics and traits in a guy that, because everybody knows I do a lot with business and I do a lot in the community, right? So if you don't have a servitude heart, then we're not going to make it, right? If they are attracted to women that they want to be, I can be domesticated, but if they want you to just remain home and take care of home, that type of base, I'm not your girl. If you're looking for someone to really just do everything and you just kind of chill, I'm not your girl. So what I start to do with guys is I say, hey, listen, here's me, cool, here's who I am. I'm natural, I'm original, this is what I like to do, this is what makes me happy. And in the financial world, I can help you get to where you need to be if you pull it all up. So we can handle that piece. But if you are looking for a lot of guys that I come across, they are looking for control. They want me to be their daughter, so to speak, or they want to be able to say, okay, everything that you're doing, you can't do that no more. You need to do this. Now we're not going to do that. And so what I've done is I say, okay, weaknesses are, let me find out what you can't tolerate so I can understand what I can either compromise, tolerate, or that I can't tolerate at all. Because women, we're more adaptive. We're gonna if we're really attracted, we're gonna really try to appease that guy. And so I stopped doing that. I'm not appeasing anybody. Either we're compatible, we're not. Either we are happy with each other, we're not. And so I was like, I know I'm not gonna be single forever. However, cautious, because one of the things I had to realize was that all of the females in my family, on the first attraction, were attracted to abuse. Real talk, right? And so when I went back through the analysis, I'm like, wait a minute, push pause. Let me find out what exactly, why we are attracted to that. So when I started doing an assessment of some of my cousins, aunties, whomever, I was like, whoa, hold up. So are we conforming and then we allowing our happiness to settle? Because I watch a lot of my aunts very unhappy, but they're married. And then they'll tell you, well, you know, I because I had a kid, so I didn't want to be that person. And then I watch some of my cousins my age or younger do the same thing. And I was like, you know what? If I have to compromise, I'm not going to do it. And so now now the sad thing is that I've come across some great fellas who probably could have been great husbands, but those same fellas were attached to their mothers who wouldn't release them because they were being their sons they were treating their sons like they were their husbands, and because their sons had good cards and they could take care of them, it was interfering to time. So I was playing second to a lot of individuals. Or if you give the fella the chance who had the kid or who have a kid, then it was, I gotta be with my child. Okay, I think about the time I want to be with you. That's not life. That's not happiness. Don't nobody want to live like that. So what I do is I be me, and along the way, somebody comes along, and one or two things happen. They're very attracted to intelligence. They're very attracted to pursuit and servitude. But then what they'll do is, once they feel good, they can go steady, so to speak, with you, and they got you. Then they like, hey, where you going? What are you doing? Or you need to be doing this. So I'm very content in thankfulness because that's too much stress. I said that earlier. Not gonna do it. And so a lot of fellas that come along, you know, you got to be careful. Like for females, we are upfront with who we are. We're gonna give you our all. But guys have hidden agendas. I'm very aware of hidden agendas, and I don't allow hidden agendas to take precedent. As a matter of fact, friend perspective, I say, no, let's just be friends and love on each other as friends. And if you can't tolerate it, like that friendship, all of a sudden you're like, well, I want more. Well, what's more than friends? Honestly speaking. So I don't conform to it. And I don't let nobody do that to me. And I think that's what's happening with males and females alike, trying to treat each other like we are a job or something. Or we a business,
right?
And true friendship is kind of out the window. Like you can't just have fun. They want to control what you do. Now, in all honesty speaking, social loyalty, integrity is so very important in my world. So
yes,
what
yes.
Is she broke up? What?
Social loyalty and integrity.
Oh
and integrity, yeah.
Like, I can't make you have integrity. I can't.
That's my big thing. Yes.
I can't make you be respectful. So if you don't have that, then it's like we're gonna be trying to train each other. No, I think that we have an inherent right and wrong inclination on what to do and what not to do. And
I'm so glad.
Go ahead.
No, I was saying I'm so glad you said that because you know what? We can get so deep into this topic. I think we need to save it for next week. I think this is next.
Whatever.
No, we do. Because let me tell you, a lot of what Monica said, we got to break that down. Number one, like she said, there are certain expectations men expect out of women that may not be realistic for that particular individual and vice versa. This is one of the things why a lot of us are not in a relationship. Unrealistic expectations. We don't understand what piss each other off, what makes each other feel loved. Her love language may be different from the mate's. So instead of expecting him to receive love, how he will receive it and vice versa. Not to mention, a lot of us women and men can be sitting in a room and the energy or the vibe that we broadcast can like actually repel somebody and you may not even know. So again, also, there are people who feel like dating after 35 gets a little harder because of whatever. We need to talk about these things and hash it out. And it's not something we do in the next 8 minutes. So even down to the sexuality, even down to our our perspective on relationships, period. Now, there's a lot of women and men who are entering into this polyamorous lifestyle, to whereas both men and women can have multiple partners. You know, so a lot of people are moving out of this monogamous thing because a lot of people feel like monogamy is not natural, that we have been loving people.
I've said the same thing. It's not
monogamy
natural.
It's not natural. Yeah, I agree.
So again, and guess what? And I'm transparent. So, you know, yes, there has been times where, you know, I'm not going to get into that. But the point is,
please don't, Rizzy. Please don't.
There were times where let's just say this. There have been things that happened in my life where I could feel like, hey, maybe I am one of those sisters who need more than one man. There have been times where I'm like, man, maybe I just need one. We gotta decipher these, because a lot of us don't even know what the heck is going on. Yeah.
Can I ask one question? When you said expectations, but on about the sex, should we have expectation as far as sex? No.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you now. If you don't go downtown, I can't date you.
We know. We know. Yes, I know that. Yes. Y'all, I gotta listen. I'm gonna share something with y'all. I'm not gonna go in details, but this girl, let me tell you something. I'm gonna say this and we can close out because I gotta go too.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna share something about my best friend. This girl is a fucking fool. Listen, she was dating. Anyway, she was dating this dude, and he was a good guy. He's a good guy, and she tried to work it out. No, she didn't. She didn't dog it. And she actually really tried. And she would call me every day. She'd be like, Kia, he won't go down. He won't. And so he liked her so much, he tried. Right? So when she called me,
listen, it made me feel bad.
Story. Let me tell it from my perspective. So she called me and she said, oh, he went down today. So I kind of got excited. You know, I was like, oh, okay, well, yeah, you could probably keep him now. But she was like, she said, I felt like a pervert because he didn't want to do it.
Right. No, listen. He did it. No, he said he did it because he knew what I wanted. But I don't want you to do that because of it. I want you to do that because it's what you like to do. So yes, I felt like some kind of creep, like, you know, just allowing you to go. No, he's doing
and in the beginning, she sounded like a creep to me. In the beginning, she sounded like a creep. She was like, I tried to push his head down. I was like, come on, dog. You can't do that, man. You can't. No, I'm playing. She didn't say that.
No, but listen. I didn't dog him. I was honest from the beginning. As soon as I found out he did it, I said, listen, this may not work out because of this, that, and the third. And he said, just try. And because he was a great guy, great father, everything. Yeah. Yes, I mean, everything. And so I said, okay, I'm going to try this. Every other thing, you know, whatever. And so, yes, it got to, I don't want to be sexually restricted. That's just my thing. Like, no. And so we're still friends, you know, but I'm realistic. Yeah. No, we have to be sexually compatible because you know what happens? This is one of the reasons why men cheat. They can love their woman. She's a great woman. But if she does not satisfy him in the bedroom, he'll cheat on her, not because he don't love her, because he's missing that satisfaction. And that's the same reason why women cheat. And these are the kind of
vice versa, yes.
That we don't have, and this is why we have a problem in our relationship. So
that's true.
We'll save it for next week, honey, because I'm about to make a list.
But before we close, I wanted to add this, ladies, because we got, it's 2:55 on my clock, so we got like 5 minutes. But I just wanted to add that Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, I believe this was in her book, The ISIS Papers, she was saying that she doesn't, recommend, for Black folks to have children. And I'm even thinking to even get into, I'm adding to get into a serious relationship until you're in your 30s. She talked about it, in the context of having children. But of course, if I'm having children, I got to be in a relationship, right? So but the ancestors said in the context that, you know, she was saying that in the context of having children, that for women, she recommended that you don't have children until you're 30, and for men, 35. And now that I'm 36, I totally understand why the ancestor recommended those ages. It's not until I got in my 30s that I really came into myself, came into my sexuality. You know, I'm even talking, yes, did I have sex prior to 30? Of course. But I'm talking, you know, it was kind of, is a difference between having sex and going through, you know, the motions, going through the mechanics.
Yes, honey.
And actually having sex. It's a difference. Right. Knowing your body. Yes. So this 36-year-old Dr. Oyama now knows and understands her body. When Dr. Ma'at was out there at the age of 17, 18, 19, doing a little thing, I did not know my body the way I know my body now. So, you know, when you come into your 30s, I feel like that's when you really come, I'm speaking for me, my experience, into my womanhood, into who I am. I know exactly what I want. Exactly what I want. I know what I'll tolerate. I know what I don't tolerate. I know myself at this point. I have self-control at this point. I'm more disciplined. I'm more focused. I now know my purpose, and I'm walking and operating in my purpose. You're just a totally different woman in your 30s than you are, you know, as a girl or as an adolescent or as a teenager or as a young adult. You're just totally different. So, you know, kid, when you saying, hey, I'm 35 and I'm now looking, you're at that age, you know, where you should be. You're at a good age where you should be looking. You've traveled, you've been around, you have experiences to bring into the relationship, because ultimately we want to connect with people we're growing with intellectually, emotionally, financially. We want to grow with.
That's right.
And these people also have to be a good fit for our families, because I tell people all the time, it's only in Western culture that marriage is considered an individual thing. In African culture, marriage was a communal thing, because now this man or this woman was entering a clan. You get what I'm saying? And so it is a communal event, you know. So we're going to kick it. We're going to definitely get into it. I also, while you guys were talking, I was also thinking about women and how we need to now overstand how to differentiate a man from a boy. Remember that was a part of the rites of passage for women when we were going through our woman training, our womanhood training. They also taught women how to differentiate between a man and a boy. A lot of women get caught up. Hold up, this is what I say. A lot of women get caught up in dealing. They say a man hurt me. I say no, boo. It wasn't the man that cheated on you, the man that left you with the baby, or the man that burnt you. It was a boy that was masquerading as a man. So we have to, as women, understand the difference between a boy, a man, and a boy masquerading as a man. A lot of these females are getting caught up in bad situations because they're dealing with boys who are masquerading as men. I tell my sons all the time, who are 17 and 18, that your elongated penis and the hair on your chest and your height does not make you a man. It is your mentality. It is your behavior. It is the fact that you have responsibility, which distinguishes you from a boy. So, a lot of women think, oh man, I met this guy in a club. He's 35. He looks good. Oh, we went out. We kicked it. The sex was great. I'm dealing with a man. No, boo. You don't even know that yet. You think because of his age and because of how he looks? No. So we're going to get into that next week, that we as women, we can't keep blaming the brothers saying, oh, he did this, the men ain't did. No.
That's right.
You are having a hard time differentiating between boys masquerading as men and men. And we need to talk about that. And next week, I'm going to make sure that I bring up the book, Visions for Black Men, written by Dr. Naeem Akbar. Now, Dr. Naeem Akbar wrote the book Visions for Black Men. Dr. Naeem Akbar wrote the book Visions for Black Men, but I recommend that sisters also read that book so you can understand what Black manhood is. Black manhood is not a guy walking around wearing his pants under his butt. That's not black manhood or black masculinity. Black masculinity is not predicated on the number of homies you go on with, the number of females that you had sex with, your ride, the money that you have in your pockets, your clothes, the way you buy. That's not black manhood and black masculinity. And we as black women have to understand what black manhood and black masculinity is. So even though Dr. Naeem Akbar wrote that book for black men, I even recommend that the sisters pick up that book so they can identify, especially if they don't have a man. They might have a male in the house, or they may not. But a lot of women don't have a man in the house. So now, you couldn't pick a man out of a lineup if he was, what my grandmother said, the man was staring in your face, you wouldn't be able to choose a man.
That's right.
And so we gotta start, arming ourselves with this sort of information. And that's why rites of passage for women is so important. Teaching ourselves about our bodies, our minds as women, but then also teaching how to engage with the opposite sex. How do you treat your man? Do you heal him? Do you know how to cook for him? When I say cook for him, what is your man's blood type? Is he O? Is he A? Is he B? What foods are good for your man? What foods aren't good for your man? How can you heal your man? And I'm not talking about give your man no damn Tylenol and NyQuil. I'm talking about, do you know how to make him some ginger tea? Do you know how to make him some garlic tea?
Get him together, honey. Yes.
Recommend some herbs that will heal him. If he's having a problem with his erection, can you take him to a sex expert like Sister Raziki and get him right? Or can you recommend some tiger nut milk for him to put in his smoothie, which will help increase his testosterone and help him out? So we gotta really learn again how to be women. True. And a part of learning how to be a woman is not only taking care of yourself and your children, but taking care of your man. And that's all I had to say for you, family.
Go ahead. Now that's how you end the show. I know that's right.
All right. Let's wrap it up now.
Bam.
So, real quick, as always, we shout out the chat room. Peace out. Peace to Doug, Delia Briggs, Chanessa Brown, New Black World Order. We also had Lessa Darcy. I'm definitely interested to hear about your relationship dynamics, sis, because she tell her husband when she won't be back for the night. She's still going on a date. So I'm like, I definitely need to hear about that. Who's else? Catch It, Ivy, 2017, Bam. In the building. Be Easy. What's good, fam? Sean, Paula Dore, Rochelle, Cody, Anisha Green, as always. Pieces, thanks for the support. And I think that's all I see in the chat. Oh, the Sis Dance 10124, Boss Hog Outlaw, Jahudi Mayat. Sean P, what's good, player? Alphadale Empress King. Okay, yeah, I think that's it.
All right, so next week, Mr. Raziki for doing that, man. Next week, we're gonna kick it. Why are so many black women single? We're gonna come up with a fancier title,
including us on the board.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I needs to know. No, I'm just playing.
Wow. Or if you out there, husband, I'm here. Doggone, and I'm putting it out.
Okay, that was a little bit.
That was whack? That was whack?
Okay,
that's kind of whack. Okay.
That's a specific body before you get one, and then you be like, oh, God.
I do. I got my specifics. I got it.
You know what?
I got it written down. You already know I got it written down.
Okay, I'm gonna remake my list. I think we should all write down a list. Oh, you know what?
Oh yeah.
Write down a list of our ideal men, and then we can see if we're unrealistic or not. Especially the men who are going to be in the chat, because again, this is our number one blockage: unrealistic expectations.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna do that list. That's a list in the chat. Go ahead.
What?
That's good.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah, me too.
I'm with it. All right, then, Alyssa, I'm with it. So, all right, Raziki, I'm going to see you tomorrow or Friday. I'm flying down to Atlanta. For a Meltrek presentation We're going to be the Meltrek family, or Ed Anime Productions family. We'll be showing Meltrek episode 1 and 2 at the Listening Tree Bookstore in Decatur. All right.
Okay.
So this is going to be on Saturday, this Saturday from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. down in Decatur, Georgia, at the Listening Tree Bookstore. So Sister Riziki, there's the flyers posted on my Facebook page. So please share the flyer with the school that you were telling me about, the Sister Safira. So maybe she might want to come and bring her children out. We're going to have popcorn, and we're going to be teaching children our process. How did we create this cartoon? What does it take to create a cartoon? So we're not just going in there showing Meltrek and kicking it about history. We're going to do a presentation for about 20 minutes on how to animate. Of course, it's going to be at the level of a child. We're not going to get into all of the intrinsic, details of it. But we're going to give them a basic understanding of how to produce an animated production. And then we're going to show them Meltrek episode 1 and 2. My son will be present to autograph, DVDs and kick it, after the event. So please come on out if you are in the Atlanta area. We will be there from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. at the Listening Tree Bookstore. Do the sisters have any final words before we close out?
Peace.
I'm excited for next week.
Thanks for listening.
Peace.
Peace.